Hey guys, welcome to the 4th episode of the K-Pop Bible. As always, we are your hosts. I'm Cece.
I'm Lee.
And I'm Angel.
Today, we will be discussing all things VMAs, our favorite looks from New York Fashion Week, and break down the ongoing saga between Adore CEO Min Heejin and HYBE. So, first thing, on April 22nd, HYBE starts an internal audit on Adore. A day later, Min Heejin releases a statement claiming that the main source of contention stems over plagiarism after noticing the similarities between HYBE's new girl group, LE and NewJeans. She states, "The cultural achievements of NewJeans are being the most seriously violated by HYBE." On April 25th, HYBE reports Adore's CEO to the police after uncovering that she secretly led a plan to take majority shares of the company's subsidiary. HYBE, at the time, has an 80% stake in the company, while Min Heejin and her allies had the remaining 20%. The evidence included detailed discussions that Min had ordered the Adore's management to find ways to pressure HYBE into ultimately selling Adore's shares, essentially so that they could try to break free from HYBE. Min Heejin rushes to do a press conference and through tears denies the allegations that she's trying to take over Adore. Instead, she reveals more details on how their partnership began and where the discontent between her and Bang PD started to unfold. According to her, Bang PD wanted to create a new subsidiary label to debut a new girl group and decided that buying Source Music would be a good plan since they already had trainees. Min Heejin wasn't fully on board, but decided to cooperate because she was new to the label system. For those who don't know much about her background, she was formerly a graphic designer for SM, but was much later promoted to creative director and worked with groups such as Red Velvet, SHINee, EXO, and Girls' Generation. She most famously designed FX's iconic Pink Tape album. According to Min Heejin, she said, "I'm the kind of person who has to start everything from scratch, but I thought I would bend to his will. I knew that it must have been best for me to spend my own money and make a label. But the reason I joined the company was that it had a set system. But if you make a new company from scratch, you inevitably become poor." She ended up only grabbing one trainee from Source and continued to cast the rest of NewJeans all on her own because according to her, the rest of the trainees were too old and could not meet her standards. Many have taken this as a slight dig towards Sakura. During the press conference, she expresses feeling betrayed by HYBE for choosing to debut LE SSERAFIM first before NewJeans. She says, "HYBE's CEO, Park Ji-woon, asked me not to promote NewJeans until LE SSERAFIM makes their debut. And he said that we needed to make the public think that LE SSERAFIM is Min Heejin's girl group, that we needed the public to be confused between the two." Several private chats with Bang PD were also revealed where he infamously asks, "Can you step on aespa, right?" This conversation was dated back to December 2021. Min Heejin concluded, "I thought that he was a generous person, but I found out that he was different from the outside from what he was on the inside." May 22nd, B-Lift Lab sues Min Heejin for defamation. B-Lift's filing slammed Min's allegations of plagiarism, claiming the allegations are not true and that the label is vigorously pursuing all necessary legal avenues to clarify the facts. Members of LE have been facing unjustified malicious attacks, ridicule, and slander, in spite of the fact that the members are unrelated to the accusations at hand. We strongly urge these defamatory actions, ill will slander, the spreading of misinformation, and any form of personal attacks to stop. On May 30th, the court ruled in favor of Min Heejin. HYBE's evidence and rationale were not sufficient to back the company's case for Min's dismissal. HYBE acknowledged the ruling but vowed to continue further legal action. On May 31st, while NewJeans is promoting their new comeback for House Suite, some of the girls start to publicly show their support on stage. June 11th, B-Lift files a second lawsuit against Min Heejin. June 15th, Source Music sues Min Heejin as well. In the lawsuit, Source Music accused Min of falsely claiming that she personally selected the members of NewJeans as trainees. In a statement to Billboard, Source Music pushed back against Min's narrative, stating, "The members of NewJeans have been trained under Source Music, and it was Source Music, not Min, who chose them as trainees." July 31st, 2024. Danielle shows her support for Min Heejin in a letter she published to Instagram. In this letter, she states, "You know that we're always on your side, right? You're my family. Whatever you choose, I want to be together with you." August 27th, Min Heejin resigns as CEO of Adore, and a few days later rejects HYBE's offer to stay as NewJeans producer, stating that the company's terms were unreasonable. September 2nd, 2024, Dolphiners Film, the company that directed NewJeans, Ditto, Oh My God, Cool With You, and ETA, removes all videos in relation to NewJeans in their portfolio website at the request of HYBE. They stated, "It seems that there has been a policy change at Adore due to a change in management. Adore has requested the removal of all NewJeans music videos and related content that we've worked on. As a result, we are unable to release any of the videos that were previously uploaded or were scheduled to be uploaded. It seems that the company and Adore will no longer be able to collaborate as well." They go on to further explain, "We had promised to work on future projects with NewJeans members, but it's unfortunate that we won't be able to fulfill these promises. I feel sorry to the staff who spend countless nights working on these projects, and most of all, for the fans who are eagerly waiting." September 11th, NewJeans posts to YouTube what NewJeans wanted to say. The members doubled down on their support for Min Heejin, describing her as integral to NewJeans' identity. In the words of Minji, who added, "We all feel she is irreplaceable." They also go on to allege incidents of mistreatments and a toxic work environment fostered by top HYBE executives. In her statement, Hani claimed that a manager of another girl group under the label instructed its members to ignore her as she was getting her hair and makeup done on the 4th floor of the company's building. Hidden additionally brought up a recent online leak that included an early training video of the members, as well as their personal info and medical records, and that when the group members and their parents voiced the concerns to HYBE, they ignored them. The members concluded the video by demanding HYBE to reinstate Min Heejin to Adore CEO. Subsequently, the video was taken down. September 12th, Min Heejin files an injunction to reconvene general meeting of shareholders and re-elect an internal director of Adore. Several artists throughout this time have publicly stated their support for NewJeans, just to name a few: SES Eugene's Zenbara, WJSN's Dahyun. While all of this has been going on, we've been seeing the split discussion of different fandoms and their opinions about what is going on. We've had two large groups of 17's fandom release a letter claiming that they are in support of NewJeans and that they fear the future of 17. On top of that, we have also had ARMY who have sent mass hate towards NewJeans, calling them ungrateful and brainwashed. A lot of discord between ARMY and Bunnies stems from Min Heejin asking a shaman if BTS will enlist in the military, and rumors circulating around that she was claiming that BTS also copied her, which Min Heejin has already refuted as false during one of her press conferences. But it was recently announced that Hani and Jin are going to share a flight together to attend an upcoming fashion show. Jungkook cryptically updated his dog's Instagram to show his support for NewJeans, stating that artists are not guilty and don't use them. Subsequently, Big Hit releases a statement claiming, "We confirmed with Jungkook that the post was made out of the idea that young artists should not be dragged into disputes and used as a shield in any case." So now that we have broken down everything that's happened, what do we think of the entire situation?
I think this is just another situation where she's being bullied by like a large corporation trying to get her to fall in line, and she's not really bending the knee. And I think that's what this is really about, is I think HYBE wants her to fall in line and sort of go with the company, and I think that's not happening.
So do you think HYBE is making an example out of her?
Of course. Also with her and Bang, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of jealousy there, like no shade. The group that he created, BTS, even though they are huge now, the fact that NewJeans won Group of the Year off of like their third or second year versus BTS didn't really get their critical acclaim until halfway and so I definitely think that there's ego there is, on top of that, she's a woman, standing up to a very patriarchal system. Like, I do think like he's trying to make an example out of her so that no one else challenges him or his authority.
What do you think is going to happen with NewJeans?
NewJeans as we know it is over. I've heard rumors online of like maybe they're gonna try to get picked up by another label as a group, or maybe they might split off and do their own thing. And it's just like, right now, NewJeans' future is kind of up in the air. And I feel that even though, like, this is honestly, like, obviously it's sad because it's, like, a bunch of adults messing with the lives of this young talent just so they can, like, one-up each other and out-adult each other. Like, no, but I have the best creative vision. No, I have the best creative vision. And then you're putting all of these young women's lives at stake and their livelihoods at stake. But it's also, like, Min Heejin has a past that is not favorable. I personally feel that they should have just kept their mouths shut and just let the adults kind of battle it out and fall on their faces so that way they can just coast underneath and then come out.
She is their industry mother in a way. Again, Min Heejin, I'm not saying she's a saint and she's like the Mother Teresa of K-pop, but I definitely think that it made sense that they did jump in to defend her because I think the reality is without Min Heejin, they wouldn't be a NewJeans.
Yeah, but this is like an entire K-pop group coming to a public platform and making a statement without like the companies like say so. It's gonna take a whole lot to recover from this now.
But I think the reason why they're being vocal about it is because they're also facing backlash themselves. Like they stated, they're being mistreated inside the company. Why take that on the girls?
The issue at HYBE is HYBE has so many subsidiaries where they're not really under a group. It's not really we're signed to HYBE, it's we're signed to this section of HYBE. So automatically these groups are going to have their own individual loyalties to their individual companies.
How do we feel about Jungkook cryptically showing his support? Do we think that's enough? Do we think that he should have posted this message on his main Instagram versus his dog's Instagram?
I mean, how many followers does his dog's Instagram has?
A lot.
Oh, like millions?
But it doesn't have enough as his main account.
Well, once again, contracts. We don't know what these contracts look like behind the scenes.
And for what we have been getting, Bang apparently rules his company with an iron fist.
So we don't think that BTS has any power within what goes on in HYBE?
It's not that they don't have any power with what goes on. They don't have power in regards to like other artists. They have power in regards to what they do and within their individual careers and as a group. But in terms of like other groups, it's also just like most of them except for Jin are in the military. They don't have the wherewithal or the time. Even though they're under the HYBE umbrella doesn't mean that they're still like interacting on a day-to-day unless it's for like a TikTok.
And I do think, ultimately when you are the crown jewel of a company, you tend to be under the most restrictive contracts out of anyone because the company does not want to lose you. And so, again, if Bang has always been like this, I wouldn't be surprised if the boys do have, I'm not going to say a healthy fear of him, but I wouldn't be surprised if they also have a little bit of fear towards him because, again, he don't seem like the kind of person that you want to mess with. I wouldn't be surprised if they're worried about what consequences would fall on them.
How do we feel about the massive hate that the girls have been receiving online? Not just from ARMYs, but from various fandoms in K-pop. Do you think that the hate is warranted or that fandoms should fall more in line?
Wait, I have something about this because yesterday, when this is being recorded, not released, I went to a K-pop event and someone mentioned NewJeans. And then I will not say who, but I saw a person.
Just say.
It was a white gay going, BTS. And I'm like, can you shut the... like, can you... Like, literally every time they mentioned, like, NewJeans or anything, and I was just like, what is this? And also, it was a 21 plus event, just to make that clear. If you were over the age of 21...
So this was a grown adult.
Thank you. Okay. If you were over the age of 21, what are you doing?
Before we move on from that, we actually have an incident that happened on Twitter. There was an ARMY that stitched together a compilation video of everything that's happening in the HYBE building. So you had this video of the girls, Katsai, who is in Korea right now promoting, and they had another artist, I don't remember who it was. And then I retweeted from our Twitter account and I said NewJeans needs to be saved. And within minutes, the creator blocked us because our tweet was getting a lot of likes from NewJeans supporters, because as it's been happening, there's been a lot of hate towards the girls coming from armies prior to Jungkook coming out and cryptically supporting them. So I do think that he, of course, had to have seen this, because even if you go on these girls' Instagram pages, a lot of the top hate comments are by armies. I would like to say to Cleo, this is karma, because your favorite, your bias, directly came out and showed support towards these girls. And I do agree with what Angel said. If you are over the age of 21, you have no right to send hate towards these young girls.
Because the oldest is 20.
Well, I also want to clarify, it's not even if you're over the age of 21. No one should be sending hate to these young girls, because again, this is grown people's, and I know people are going to be like, oh, some of the members are adults, but that's not what this is about. This is about higher ups competing with one another to try to take over creative vision so they can make the most profit on whatever they got to do. And these artists, it's not their fault. They're not the ones calling shots. And hopefully, if some of you watched the Cat's Eye documentary, hint, hint, wink, wink, you would notice that these higher ups are the ones leading narratives behind the scenes.
This is just weird to me, where it's like, why can't we not just support one group without bringing up another group? Okay, if you're a BTS fan and you don't like NewJeans for whatever reason, just say it in your head.
I would just like to read another public opinion that I've been seeing trending on Twitter. The fact that armies are turning on him and creating conspiracy theories just drives home the point that many of us have been making for a while now. It's not BTS you love, it's the ego boost you get from parading their achievements and compassion around. Armies have spent the past couple of months dehumanizing NewJeans and defending HYBE, while even Jungkook himself is on their side. And lastly, we would just like to read this because I thought it was pretty funny. This is by the user YAzelPinks. One thing about Jungkook is he's gonna embarrass and make armies look dumb as fuck.
Hashtag Piriana.
Some of these people need to get lives of their own. Someone also spoke to the fact that like Jungkook trained and debuted at a very young age. So he strongly empathizes with what these girls are going through. And I mean, like, we only have so much time on this podcast, but let's not even get into the misogyny of it all. Like, it's just a whole lot.
So the only thing we do know is she went to her shaman to ask if they were going into the military. And that led to fans saying that she may or may not have said that BTS copied her. Logically, why would she say that?
See, you assume logic.
I mean,
when it comes, let me tell you something about a creative environment. And
you think she just said that to be a little messy?
No, I am speaking from professional experience. In a creative environment, you can throw logic out the window 90% of the time. You truly can. There are a lot of people that'll just go one way, the other way, the other way, however way makes them feel good in that particular moment.
In summary, justice for NewJeans. Let's just stay out of these girls' business. I hope that these girls find a new label. I hope these girls find a new company, because they are a talented group, and it would be really sad for them to rise so quickly to burn out like this at the faults of others and not themselves.
So let's move on to the next news. On August 29th, the Guhara law finally passed, which prevents absentee parents from claiming the inheritance of their deceased children. So her brother, who had been the one advocating for this law, took to Instagram and said, "The bill finally passed thanks to all the attention from the public. I want to thank all of you in this time of difficulty." He first proposed the act in 2020, and it's set to take effect in 2026.
You know, there's nothing worse than an absentee person coming back into your life, especially after you've left this plane. I think it's really sad that the mother showed up to the funeral to host just to collect money. You know, and I'm happy a law like this is passed, because this is something that, you know, we see a lot even in America with entertainers. Like, we saw it with Prince. Like, he was only close to one of his sisters, and that suddenly when he passed away, his family was coming out of the woodwork demanding money from his estate. You know, we see it with
Michael Jackson.
His father felt entitled to his money, even though him and his father had a falling out and not had spoken for years. Like, it's just really sad to see how people will exploit you even though they haven't contributed to your life or haven't supported you or haven't been a positive influence in your life. And I think it's really sad, and I'm really happy that her brother was able to do this for her, she has more of a carving in history, and her name will carry on past her death. And I really hope that this sends a message that, like, parents especially, like, you're not entitled to your child's success just because you gave birth to them. And I really hope that this helps, the exploitation of these children.
But I also think that this also needs to be a starting point to talk about supporting the youth that's in entertainment more, not just in we're going to train them and make them superstars way, but also supporting their mental health, their protecting their public image, and just ensuring that we don't lose stars too soon for reasons that could have been prevented.
Maybe possibly a law that will help NewJeans in their current situation. Let's move on to talk about FX anniversary. So on September 5th, they were celebrating their 15-year anniversary. Victoria, a former member of FX, was watching Yuki, a member of G-Idol, dancing to Hot Summer. And in the video, we saw that she was awkwardly standing next to her because she had forgotten the choreography. But then later, she posted about the anniversary to Instagram, which Luna ended up liking as well. Amber, who has since left the Korean entertainment industry to promote in China, updated her BBO, thanking all of the members. In the message, she wrote, "Happy 15th anniversary, everyone. Thank you, Victoria, Luna, Sully, Krystal, and of course, me and all of you." Shortly after, Krystal updated her Instagram as well, where she was pictured holding a little cupcake with the number 15, celebrating FX's anniversary. So, where is your bias in FX?
Oh, I was Team Luna back in the day. Oh, I love a good vocalist. I do.
I mean, for me, I've met Amber twice. Amber is my bias, was from the start, but I'm also like, we're getting old, y'all, because I remember when FX debuted. Like, for those of you that don't know, or maybe this is your first podcast, I've been a K-pop fan for 16 years. So now here, the FX is 15 of those 16 years. I'm like, oh, time is moving. But also for the situation itself, because not only was Victoria a member of FX, she was the leader of FX. Which why I was like, she was having like flashbacks. She was like
trauma.
Trauma, hey.
And I did see that people were saying, how could she forget the choreography? I would be like, girl, I've not danced to this in years. I have no reason to know this choreography anymore. I have made my coin. I've moved on.
Well, she went to China and didn't look back. I'll tell you that.
And she's making more money. She's like, period.
So my FX bias was a tie between Sully and Krystal. I always used to go back and forth.
You like the alt creative girls, don't you?
I do. What was your favorite FX comeback?
OT5 or OT4?
Electric shock.
OT5, it's red light. OT4, four walls.
Talking about FX, Krystal showed up at Ralph Lauren Spring 2025 fashion show. As we all know, New York Fashion Week just happened, and we had Krystal and Winter, who are both ambassadors for the brand. What do we think of their looks?
I actually do love this messy bun updo on Winter. I'm actually really here for like a messy bun. And Krystal just gives what Krystal gives. It was very simple, very sleek. Krystal can do no wrong when it comes to serving a consistent look, so I lived.
See, I saw something on TikTok, and now I can't unsee it when it comes to Winter. Not both of her thumbs, but one thumb is quite short. And so I was looking at her hands at the show, and I was like, why does she have no nails? I was like, no, but she has no polish, no press on, no nothing. I'm not trying to be, I'm just saying, it's just like, if you're going to show up to New York Fashion Week and you're going to be a star, where's the completed look? Like, yes, we have beautiful gowns, beautiful hair, blush is blushing, body, face, nails, where were they? Like, where was the completion?
I will say I do agree with Angel. Every time I see a K-pop star come down here to New York, either to do an event or promotion, first thing I look at is their nails, and I see that these girls do not have a manicure team on set. Girls, please, don't just do your nails. Please get a pedicure as well, because we need y'all to be put together. That is the life of a star.
Actually, now looking at the photo, why was Krystal wearing this belt?
Equestrian.
Was it? Because wasn't the whole thing, wasn't the whole collection based on, summer in the Hamptons? That's why the show was in the Hamptons this year, and all the girls had to get into their vehicles. So, I don't know. Do the girls wear belts with dresses in the Hamptons? I don't know.
Moving on to stars. Twice's Dahyun made her runway debut walking for Michael Kors. What did we think of her walk and the dress she was wearing?
No shade, this is not a read. It was giving very like semi-stiff Jenny when she did that show. Jacques Mousse. But I did love the hair and makeup. I did like the little, like, again, another belt situation. I don't know. Are belts in for the fall?
So they were not the only stars that came to New York Fashion Week. We also had Stray Kids, Felix and Lino, and Blackpink's Jisoo attend Tommy Hilfiger's show. As we all know, Tommy Hilfiger also dressed the boys for the Met Gala. So what do we think?
Do you want to take this?
I can start.
Yeah, you want to take this, girl?
Because the name is Stray Kids. So, like, with the schoolboy concept, it's gonna work every time, in my opinion. Am I also a stay? Yes. So, biased, of course. Multi-stay on forever. If you look at the set of that Tommy Hilfiger show, it's supposed to, like, mimic New York, where, like, they walked up, quote-unquote, subway steps, and I'm like, oh, so rich people are just cosplaying again. They're like, but they were like cosplaying as the rich Upper East Side kids that go to private school. I get the concept, and they pulled it off, in my opinion.
It was giving Gossip Girl.
XOXO.
I mean, I'm just over this oversized suit thing with them. They kind of did it at the Met Gala. I just wish it was different tailoring. I like Felix, don't get it wrong. I need him to do something different with the hair. Again, this is cute. Also, it's Tommy Hilfiger, so it's nothing really particularly like super groundbreaking. But I just wish, you know, they gave a little something different. But I'm not mad at it.
Let's not forget Jisoo. I would say I really liked her outfit. I like the boots. One thing I would have done without is the beanie. I'm not sure why she wore a beanie. Was she cold?
She's trying to give relatable. She's no longer just giving high upscale Dior fish. She wants to give relatable everyday girl going to like Erewhon to get her Sabrina Carpenter smoothie.
Again, I would have done without the beanie, but I would say overall the look is very cute. I love the varsity jacket on her. It's definitely a style that we don't see Jisoo do as often. She does give us a lot of glam. And it's great to see her kind of pull back and like embody what Tommy Hilfiger is about. Let's move on to the VMAs. As we all know, they happened on September 11th and we had some notable K-pop stars walk the runway. First person we will talk about is of course the star of the night, Lisa. She was wearing custom mugler with makeup done by Ariel, as we all know is Kylie Jenner's makeup artist.
I think this is one of the best looks of the night. I am a cigarette, so I love anything mugler. The only thing is I'm sort of over the nude thing. I would have liked it if it was like a red or something, but I genuinely think this is a really good look. Love the hair and makeup. Love the Bulgari jewels because you know she's a Bulgari girl.
I kind of get like on board with like the non-blush pink vibe, but if she kind of stuck to that like gold that she's known for, especially with the Bulgari jewelry, like and bring out some emeralds with the. I know Bulgari has some emerald and gold combos in there. You put in like a champagne gold instead of a blush pink.
Again, I think red just looks fabulous on her. I love the 2010 Selena Gomez wispy bang situation with the body of the hair.
So I really personally loved her style. As soon as I saw her walk down the red carpet, my jaw dropped. And I was like, Lisa, you are representing K-pop as it should be represented on a world stage. I think that this is probably the most elegant that I've ever seen a K-pop star on a red carpet. No shade to anyone else. No shade at all. But Mugler, to get that cosign, that is huge in the fashion industry. Lee, can you break it down for us a little bit?
Well, Mugler is like really one of like, when you think of high fashion, high concept, Mugler is just one of those brands. Terry Mugler, IOP, has long passed away, so the house is very particular with who they loan stuff to, who they make custom pieces for. They're really one of those houses that is like, when you get that Mugler standpoint, like you really are a fashion girl.
We know who Lisa's rumored boyfriend is. Do we think that could have helped her get a pull for a custom Mugler?
It's still a slay. Like, you know.
Well, obviously a slay, but I'm just saying, like, yes, she's a fashion girly, but, like, would she be as poignant of a fashion girly have her rumor partner not be who he is?
I think the reason why Mugler chose her is because this is her second year. And as we already saw later in the show, she won for Best K-pop again. Yes, Mugler is very selective of who they choose to dress, but at the same time, Lisa is a world star. For me, she has overpassed K-pop, and she is deserving of a fashion house as Mugler to dress her. She is a star. She is a winner. Of course, she needs to be dressed by the top of the top.
I was surprised though. Is she not with Selena anymore?
I think that ended after the group contract got refreshed. Because now she's a Louis Vuitton girl.
Yeah, so she isn't signed to anyone, and that's why we saw more creativity in her fashion style. We saw all these 4 different outfits by 4 different designers, and a lot of fans were actually happy to see that because a lot of K-pop stars are tied down to these sponsorships, but I think that all of these 4 looks, as Lee said, was great on Lisa. I loved seeing her in this red outfit for her performance. But before we get there, let's not forget the second K-pop group that was there, LE SSERAFIM. So they walked down the runway. I'm not really sure who styled them. I'm not sure who they're wearing, but we're gonna talk about this. Let's go.
Remember Fifth Harmony.
I was gonna say, wasn't it given Fifth Harmony where they're all styled by different people?
And hey, you got the red you wanted? The red's in the tie? But and this is the thing too, and I know we were just talking about HYBE being a parent company. When you come from a parent company, you couldn't get a stylist to make a group look like a group on a carpet?
No shade. The maknae is giving very preppy, giving very that Tommy Hilfiger show. First of all,
the thing is, where's the red everywhere else? No one has a red lip. No one has a red shoe.
Sakura is giving very Ralph Lauren, Hamptons tees. No shade. Kazuha. I love Kazuha's look. There's something, it's simple, but I love a simple leather pants with like a crop top situation. It's a little blousey for my liking, but I mean, contrast.
Why the knitted leg warmers? Why?
Honestly, if Chaewon had a nasty thigh-high boot, this would have been everything. Like, it was just a nasty patent leather boot. It would have been...
Can we talk about how she and Megan Thee Stallion were having a bob off?
And you know, can I say, I was going to ask, this bob is severe. She looked like she got a fresh silk press.
That stylist went in with precision scissors and took a ruler to the bob, a level to the bob, to make sure it was bob.
How do we feel about Hyunjin's dress?
In my opinion, she was the only one ready for a carpet. I feel like the rest of the members are each dressed for like a different pop-up in Soho, and Hyunjin was like, oh, I'm going on a carpet.
Yeah, no, this is giving very like Mason, like Margiela. This is giving a little bit of like Vivienne Westwood vibes. My only thing is, I think the corset doesn't match the skirt. I would have maybe done like a sort of like deconstructed like pleated skirt, or honestly like a nasty just fitted white pant with like some cunt like combat boots would have been really cute.
Or even like a wide leg with a nice
wide leg
seam.
trouser, yeah.
Like a white wide leg trouser with a nice strong seam down the front.
Also,
and that's where you could put a red pump underneath and connect it.
Also, no shade, girl. I'm over her with this straight center part. I just feel like the top is so interesting because she with this could do like maybe like a cunt ponytail. Or like just pull her hair back, or maybe do like
or a messy bun kind of thing, because that.
What's those 2 buns? Those 2 messy buns?
Not space buns.
Oh, okay. I would have done something, but I just feel like it's just my only thing is I feel like the hair and makeup is disconnected from like the look.
I feel like this whole red carpet look was put together last minute because it doesn't look planned.
Well, it was kind of last minute because they were announced as the pre-show performers, I would say maybe like 4 days before the actual show. So fans weren't even aware that they were going to perform at the VMAs.
Even then,
black and white.
You know what I mean? You couldn't do better polls with HYBE money.
Y'all have all these idols with brand endorsements, contracts. Y'all couldn't call none of these fashion houses to be like, can y'all send over 5 pieces? Or just call Louis Vuitton and be like, hey, can you pull stuff from like a collection that looks like they all could be in the same show? I just think it would be easier to just pull from a designer that did something for you already because you have that relationship. If this is like a last minute thing, you know what I mean?
They're such a premier group and they come from a premier company that even if something is last minute, you need premier styling.
Let's move on and talk about their pre-show performance. So the girls performed Crazy and 1-800 Hot and Fun. What did we think about their performance?
It's a pre-show, so I wasn't expecting it to be the craziest thing in terms of production. It's just my thing with LE SSERAFIM. What just irks the hell out of me is I feel like they are how much into their careers, and I feel like they still haven't gotten like the stage performing thing down across the board. Some girls are carrying the group and other girls or girl is really just sort of lagging behind.
I will say, I do think that a smaller stage does suit them a lot better. I thought we were able to see them a little bit more put together than they are in a world stage such as Coachella. I personally liked seeing them interacting with the fans as well as they were performing. And I don't know, I think that for non-K-pop fans, this was a good performance. I had a friend over the weekend actually reach out to me. They sent a text message, and let me just read it because I never like to speak out on people. LE SSERAFIM is eating, and they're just a casual K-pop fan. So like I said, I think this performance was good.
Well, I think it was a massive improvement from Coachella, and I think if we're judging them from that to the VMAs, it is a massive improvement. But I think it's getting to a point that we just saw that documentary. It's just for them, if we're just grading them on a curb. But I cannot deal with Sakura struggling to duck walk anymore. It's not fun for me. She needs to get it together. Everyone else I'm cool with, but she needs to just get the boom cat together.
So for me, minus the faux duck walk, I will say that I think Sakura really shines on international stages. I feel like more of her personality comes out, and I think as a whole, the VMAs pre-show performance was good for the audience that it needed to serve. But did it serve? And the other thing is with it...
Was it 4+4?
I'm not sure. I feel like we were a little beneath that because I won't even name members in this case, but I feel that there are potentially 2 or 3 members that could work on letting their personality come out, or even if they got to build a fake one behind the scenes, let that come out so it blends with the members who do have that stronger personality when they hit the stage. Because it's like, yes, this was one performance and it was better than Coachella, but it's like, again, like if you're going to be a premier group from a premier company, you need to step it up.
One last thing I would like to say, the girls are being interviewed on the red carpet, and unfortunately, because Hyunjin is the only member that speaks English, she did most of the talking for the girls. And I noticed there was this one clip on Instagram where the talk show host was trying to interact with the other members, and they were all just looking at Hyunjin like, girl, can you please answer for us? I would just like to say, you guys are coming from a big company like HYBE, which already has this international appeal. Like, girls, let's get our English skills up together, please. If you guys are going to be a girl group that's going to promote internationally, I would love to hear more than just Hyunjin's opinion about what's happening. I love her, love Hyunjin. I love what she's doing for the girls. I love that she's a translator, but please, can we get a translator to stand beside these girls when they're being interviewed so that we can hear other members' voices and their personality shine? Not just for K-pop fans, but to hear more of them, because it's very strange when it comes to this group. When they're promoting, I never get to actually hear them. I only hear Hyunjin speaking on behalf of them.
And oh my god, I'm gonna sound like such an army right now, but like with even with BTS, even though they don't have not all of the members are RM level of English, you still see in their facial expressions or in their body movements, like there's some understanding. Yeah, they you can tell that they understand the theme of what's being asked and want to offer an opinion in some way. And even if they just flat out start speaking Korean and he translates, there's still that whereas I feel with LE SSERAFIM, it's kind of everyone else is deer in the headlights, and then Hyunjin has to speak for them. And I'm just you need to work on your media presence. Where is the media training?
3 of these girls have had either exposure, in Hyunjin's case being on Produce, and being Chaewon was in iZone, which was a very successful group, along with Sakura. And Sakura on top of that had 3-4 years being an idol in Japan and being a public figure
since she was 13 years old in Japan.
Period. And so gets to a certain point of you are an experienced, because in our days we called it a recycle group, but you are an experienced group with experienced members, And so there is no excuse for you to not be somewhat together.
Let's move on to discuss Lisa's performance. So she performed a melody of New Woman and Rockstar. But before we get into our exact analysis, I would just like to mention that she was ranked by the New York Times and Billboard as the worst performance of the night. What do we think about that, guys?
Rude.
Stop Asian hate.
Xenophobia.
Xenophobia.
And misogyny. You really gonna tell me Shawn Mendes was better?
Listen, I usually watch the show from top to bottom, but I could not take this year's VMAs. I only stayed 2 performances after Lisa's and I had to shut down the TV. I was blown away by Lisa's performance. I think this is the best performance we've ever seen done by a K-pop star. It's crazy to see how these media companies are reacting to this performance by calling it the worst. I think, was it the worst of the night? No. Could it have been better? Yes. When you compare her performance to other artists that performed that night and just what it means to have someone like her of her caliber being a Thai artist to represent everything that she represents, I think that she did incredible. Like, I haven't seen a performance done on this level by any other K-pop star. And as Angel mentioned while we were discussing about this earlier, she even outperformed Blackpink's performance last year.
In my opinion.
I think the thing with Lisa's performance is Lisa was giving us a straight performance, which I loved. You know what I mean? But I think when you're comparing it to everyone else who had an individual storyline with what they were doing, I'm thinking that's what they are. I think maybe that's why the ranking was so low. But even then, no shade, there's some girls that don't have to rely on a gimmick and don't have to rely on a storyline. No shade, because the girl that was ranked the best,
Sabrina Carpenter.
No shade, Sabrina. Your two-step wasn't two-stepping like that. And again, you had a concept, but your concept, it wasn't that original because she was giving like a space age moment.
Which we've already seen in the VMAs.
The trophy is a fucking mood mat. And so
Katy Perry have like a space theme in the same evening?
Yeah, which Katy Perry was a little bit more, well, Katy Perry had more time because she was being honored. There was more production to that. Like I said, there are some artists that don't have to rely on a gimmick. It's just raw talent and stage presence. And yes, was Lisa lip syncing at time? You know, I think Lisa is a rapper. She's an amazing dancer. Yes, she can hold a note. And Lisa does what Lisa's did, which is perform and give stage presence and give hair and just. So I just think this is where, again, if you're gonna judge her for not but again, the American landscape of music, talent is not really a thing anymore. I get it.
Very quickly, in the words of my favorite pop star, Britney Spears, referencing Sabrina Carpenter's performance, "Why is she kissing an alien on stage? I love her. I adored her to death, but I didn't understand that part. Why didn't she kiss a girl? That was weird." So yes, when you compare and you claim that Sabrina Carpenter's performance was the best of the night and then rank Lisa as dead last, I think something's wrong. Something's off with this scale.
I think that certain people that like to make these kinds of lists in media always kind of look for the same template, and I think it's time that they update their idea of what a performance is, because they just want a theme and close-ups of people's face, and I think that that's what ranked a little higher. Whereas like Lisa is a performer. Her theme is that she's a new woman and she's a rock star. That's the theme. No, she doesn't need to fly Rosalia out to show off that she could be a rock star. No, she doesn't need to stand on a floating space rock to prove that she's a rock star. She is a performer. She brings it with her presence. And if you can't see that, maybe you should take a dance lesson.
And for the people that were saying she was lip syncing, people who were actually in the show were releasing their own fan cams and you could hear the vocals. When it comes to the VMAs, not everyone is going to be performing live. Yes, you're going to have some backtrack. Yes, you're going to have some live performances. But to perform at the level that she performed, to be walking through on a treadmill in heels, that is going to require some backing tracks to make sure that her vocals are steady throughout the performance. She had fire in the background. She had a huge group of background dancers. She gave you an entire production.
And I think when you look at the kind of archetype that Lisa is as a performer, she is an entertainer. For me, what makes a good entertainer is Can you put on a great visual live show? Can you keep up with the backup dancers around you? And can you hold your own on a stage? And Lisa did all of that. And again, some of the greatest entertainers in the world, Britney, J-Lo, Madonna, Janet Jackson. Girl, it was very vocals optional on their performance, because when you're dancing and giving a whole, you're not gonna do that, you know what I mean? And so I just feel like someone had to be the bottom, and I think it's very interesting that it had to be the one female entertainer that does not come from the American music industry.
I do think that the music critics that we have right now are a bit antiquated. I think a lot of them don't understand the cultural landscape of music in general. I think a lot of them still rely on a lot of old concepts, as you've mentioned before. But I think that it's time for these companies to hire new voices, to hire people that actually know and are tapped into what's going on in music.
Media needs to hire more people in general, so you're not having burnt out reporters trying to compile lists in time that is just unfathomable and doesn't have proper depth and research to it. So media companies, how about you actually hire people?
But not just any kind of people. Let's bring in more people of color. Let's bring in more diverse voices, because Angel is not the only person who works in the industry in this team. I as well work in the industry, and I have had a hard time finding my way in the industry because of this very same reason. A lot of these companies refuse to hire people that have actual talent, creative ideas, and it's all because of this silent rule that we have in Hollywood, where it's like, you only get in if you have the right connections. Let's try to uplift new voices, especially the voices of people of color, because we set the trends. We might as well be the ones to analyze it and discuss it. So moving on to the winners. We had Lisa win for Best K-Pop Under Rockstar. Push Performance of the Year went to LE SSERAFIM with Easy, and the final category was Best Group, and it went to 17. How do we feel about these winners?
I mean, I love 17. I think it's very well deserved, and I'm glad that they're getting their flowers, because 17 just had a better year commercially. And when it came to push artists, how do you feel about the LE SSERAFIM winning?
I think they just gave that award to them because they showed up to the VMAs.
Damn.
I'm sorry, but we know the VMAs have a history of doing that.
Who else was nominated? Let me look. Best Push. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But let's get into the big Best K-Pop. How do you feel about Lisa winning?
And she won over Jungkook's
Seven. Featuring Lotto.
Once again, this is a fan-voted award. And even as an ARMY, I will say this, when Blinks have some fire up their butts, they can get some stuff done. So I say congratulations, and I'm also a Blink, but I say congratulations to Blinks and Lilies. Again, multi-stan, so I walk the lines of a lot of these fan wars, which is hilarious. But yeah, I'm not surprised at all that Lisa won, because she's best, even though she's not Korean, and some people are like, oh, she's not Korean, it's like, best K-pop. Leave it alone. She got her award, and she can actually hold it up.
I love Seven, don't get me wrong. I actually like that song. You know,
that's actually, can I say something? That song made me like Jungkook. Like, that song actually made me fuck with him so hard.
I wasn't that well versed into BTS's solo music, but when Jungkook came out with the song and he came out with his album, I started listening to it, and I am such a huge lover of just pop music and R&B.
And he delivers good pop contemporary R&B zhuzh.
Took y'all long enough.
Unfortunately, I do think that Seven was a good contender, but I think it had to have gone to Lisa.
Now that we've talked about some crazy good artists, let's head into our music reviews, starting with LE SSERAFIM's Crazy. What do we think?
I think that this was a really fun, cute song. It would have been a really good summer bop, which I'm kind of surprised that it didn't come out in the middle of summer, but it's coming out towards the end of summer. But I do like the song. I do think all the girls are girling. It's so catchy. I did like the Vogue influence. I love that the House of Juicy, which is a Kiki house in New York, got, their shine. If I had to rate it, I would rate a nice little 3.5 out of 5.
So I actually think this is LE SSERAFIM's best music video. Controversial take to some. I respected that the girls were not only able to take influence from house music, but they also brought in cultural elements that belong to those genres, such as these Vogue dancers, bringing them out to be heavily featured throughout the entire music video. I love that in some parts it was actually done in a bathhouse. I don't know if many people are aware of this culture, but bathhouses were important for gay men in
late 60s into the mid 90s, but it stopped and was closed down during the height of the AIDS epidemics.
I don't know if they did that on purpose or if they actually went that deep into their research, but I loved coincidentally that they were able to drop those little hints.
It's also double entendre because bathhouse culture is also a thing in Korea still, so it worked on both ends.
They released several versions of the song. There was one blind item criticizing the group for releasing all these different versions because they were looking to chart higher in the chart position. And then other people were just like criticizing them because they're like, we don't need a slowed down version of the song, you know? And so their EP had like a slowed down version, it had an English version, it had remixes, one with Pink Panthers, which I really liked. I thought it was really fun. I thought she was a perfect artist to jump on the track.
I think that this song is such a bop, and as a raver, well, I wouldn't be doing it justice if I didn't mention that one of the producers on this track is I Love Julia, aka ISO, one of the best in the game. And he's absolutely amazing. So the fact that he worked on this track, I was like, well, no wonder why it's a bop. Also, David Guetta remixed this, and I'm definitely planning on hearing that at upcoming raves because that remix is so lit.
Yes, but let's dive in. I actually want to talk about the English version of the song. I know a lot of people were criticizing.
It wasn't great.
A lot of people were on defense of Yoon Chae's verse. Like, some people liked it, some people hated it, but I would just like to say, I think it was great in an awkward sense, meaning, yes, it sounded awkward, but the more times you actually listen to it, the more you actually end up loving it. I think it was a good comeback for the girls. Was it my favorite song out of the entire EP they released? No, I actually loved their ballad a lot more, and I wish they would have promoted that instead of 1-800-FUN. But before we move on, there's also something that we should discuss about the number of sales they've had. So there's been a steady decline of sales since their last album. Why do you think that is? Are they losing fans, or are they just suffering from a lot of the controversies that they're being dragged into in association with what's going on with HYBE?
I think it started with Coachella. They couldn't perform on one of the biggest stages.
Also, I think they're dealing with what I call the ITZY effect. I think their music has just gotten really formulaic at a certain point. I don't think people are really clamoring to listen to what they do. Again, all their releases are beginning to sound like it's off of the same album. I think they peaked with Anti-Fragile, and yeah, they had a little bit of love when it came to Unforgiven, but now it's sort of like, girl, we get it. It's just dance music at this point.
But before we end this, I would like to say other K-pop idols should learn from what HYBE did with LE SSERAFIM promoting this track. So they definitely took in influence from the ballroom culture, from gay culture, and they actually had drag queens perform at their listening party in LA. So I think it's great that not only you're able to take influence from these subgenres, but you're also giving them the platform and the stage to share your talents with the world. So if other K-pop groups want to take in more influence, definitely make sure to, as we say, tip your drag queens.
Amen. And speaking about 80s dance music gone wrong, the matinee of Twice has decided to come out with her solo debut, and it was a choice, and I think we're going to dive into it. Who wants to take this up? Okay, she wants to take it. Come on, Angel. Spread those wings.
Well, it was mainly because of what you said that she chose to come out with her solo debut. Did she? I think. I think
she wasn't sitting in that boardroom like, I want to give 80s dance tease down?
I think the company said, Twice just got off a tour, and we're going to actually let them breathe for once. And while we let some of them breathe, we got to put someone out to make a bop. And they went, who do we want to make a bop? Right, Julie, you come out and do a little bop too. Now, do I think that was the best choice for right now? Not necessarily. I feel like, yes, she's been an idol for many years. Yes, she's incredibly talented. Yes, she's a beautiful woman. But it's like when you go solo from a group, there's that extra oomph that needs to come out. And I think they could have spent a little time refining that oomph, because right now it just kind of feels like I am a robot for my company. Like, that's what it kind of feels like.
You know what she gives? She gives very Sehun vibes, where I think she likes being in a group, and so she doesn't really care to do anything outside of the group. I think she is one of these people where she's like, I know what I do. I know what I do well in the context of this group. I don't want to be an actress. I don't want to be a solo performer. I just want to maybe show up to a red carpet sometimes in beautiful gowns, and that's it.
But I think that's interesting because as she was doing interviews for this debut stage, she mentioned that immediately after seeing Nayeon come back with her solo music, she was the one who proposed the idea of debuting as a soloist for JYP, and JYP ended up supporting her, and we can see his influence with this song. Personally, I think the song is a bit outdated, and it's interesting to see how this is the sound that JYP falls back on with most of his solo debuts. For example, we had Yubin from the Wonder Girls. Her solo music was 80s influence as well. The Wonder Girls did have an era where they had that as a genre that they explored, but then they ended up giving that sound to Yubin. And for me, when I saw that, I didn't feel like it actually matched her aura or her style that she gave. And it's kind of eerie to see that being pushed onto TZUYU now. And I wonder if that's just a sound that JYP really, really loves and wants to make more music around, or if it was a choice that she went with. I really don't know much about her personal musical taste, but I am personally, in my opinion, based on the history of the kind of music that I've seen JYP produce for their artists, I think it's more of JYP's decision.
And that was a choice. Yeah.
Also, just because she said it in an interview doesn't make it true.
You know, because you know there's a PR person right behind the camera be like, girl, you better say it. Follow the script.
Say it was your idea, that you wanted to. Because truly, I agree that, like, she's someone that likes being in a group. She knows what she's good at. And then when they were like, oh, we want you to do this, she was like, it's almost like how Taemin, when he was under SM, would say, like, whatever the company does, like, I'll just go, okay, and do it.
Who would we have seen debut as a soloist out of Twice next instead of TZUYU?
I actually would love to see Momo solo. I think she's a really good performer, really stunning dancer, great stage presence. I would like JYP to stop making her sing when she auditioned as a rapper, and she can rap, so I would like her to maybe do something or sing in her real voice, because she actually naturally has a deep voice.
Yeah.
And I think, which we saw on the historic show 16, I think she would be an interesting person because the bar would be set so low for her. I think if you let her come in, do her thing, and really rise above those expectations, I mean, no shade, she would be someone that could compete with LISA.
With this song in particular, like, had they given it to Sana, it would, like, because Sana has that, like, bright effervescence that, like, I feel like this song almost, like, the song was a great song. JYP does a good job, but I feel like Sana's personality would have brought this song to a new level.
Well, I don't think that's possible because the Japanese subunit, they're releasing Atelier.
Well, that's why they went to JYP, and they're like, we looked at the schedules, and we want you to do this song.
And they were like, girl, get it out of the way. Just give us one solo song one time, and you don't have to do this shit again. She was like, amen.
I agree with a lot of what you said, but I think that Momo just has this very great aura and presence about her whenever she's on stage, and I think for me it would mirror something of what people in the past prior to Kai releasing his solo music, a lot of people, their main criticism was who's gonna sing, right? And then when Kai went solo and gave us an amazing body of work, we were able to see him truly shine. And I would like to give Momo the same kind of grace. I think that she definitely has the ability to present us and give us a great song as a solo performer. Momo has what it takes to compete with LISA. She isn't the strongest singer, But when it comes to performance, she brings in her A game every single time. And I see the exact same thing with Momo. Now, does Momo have the confidence to go solo? I don't think so, because unfortunately, a lot of the fans bring this as a point that she's not strong vocally. But like Lee said, when she sings in her normal tone, which is lower, as in Britney Spears, she sounds so much better than when they push her to have this high-pitched anime voice that I don't really think goes well.
I think it's to sort of align with the other girls, because Mina and Sana naturally have higher pitch voices, so I think it's to play in the whole like Japanese line. All the Japanese girls have these pretty high pitch voices, which again, But TZUYU, if we had to rate this, what would we rate this out of 5?
I would give it a 3.5.
Okay, that's generous. That's real generous.
I feel like it can't be rated because it's just so like pumped out from the Entenmann's factory of like K-pop.
I would rate it 2.5 Lada Di Lada Dams out of 5. Because, again, this dance music, no. Thank you, next.
So can we actually talk about a group that embodies K-pop and the K-pop genre? Let's talk about Oh My Girls Classified.
I mean, embodies K-pop?
They embody K-pop where these girls are conceptual. They create music to fit a concept. It's not really influenced by sort of Western standards of trends in terms of, like, they're not doing music that is, like, taken from what's hot in the West now. They sort of follow that sort of fairy concept, very Red Velvet, very A-Pink, that's sort of very much, we are a group with a concept. We create music to work with this concept.
But the thing is, they're very good at referencing. Let us not forget the Tinashe influences of the past. Now this video is giving very much like Red Velvet meets a little G-Friend. But I still don't know who Oh My Girl is.
But I feel like they've always been that kind of fairy group. Remember Closer? Remember... Like, they've always sort of stuck... Most of their successes outside of maybe Nonstop has been very like fairy, dreamy, ethereal. And I think for them, this is like a return to form in a way.
I would say it's very refreshing to hear because the sound just stands out when you compare it to other releases that we have in line, right? Like everyone else is trying to chase a trend or trying to get a #1 hit. But I think this group is able to stay true to their actual essence and who they are. And I think it was perfectly done. I really, really enjoyed the song. As Angel mentioned, it did give Red Velvet tease, even the music video. But hey, K-pop is not original.
But it's like, who is Oh My Girl? Like outside, not the members, not the fairies. Who is Oh My Girl? And I feel like that hasn't been pinned down yet.
But maybe that is their concept. We're fairies, we're ethereal, we're soft, and we're beautiful. Like, maybe, why can't that not be their zhuzh?
And here's the thing. K-pop doesn't have to be deep.
Music doesn't have to be deep. Like, no shade. I don't think this song was meant to be a hit. I think this is... to Oh My Girls what Quantum Baby is to Tinashe, where I don't think this project was meant to be a hit. I think this project was for them to continue to expand their creative repertoire. Bills have to be paid. Well, speaking of extensive, here is another offering from one of K-pop's most iconic and notorious producers. This is Teddy with his new group MEOW off of the Black label, and this is their new song MEOW. So what do we think about MEOW?
With MEOW, I want to say I do like that they kind of like use more of the real sound of a cat's meow rather than just like, oh, meow, meow. It's like there's like that like draw to it. Please don't take this the wrong way, but it's a similar meow that cats do when they're in heat. So kind of like starting off that they're a hot group. Like, but it's also like you have like these faces that longtime K-pop fans and fans of like YG and the Black label, even though yes, they're not technically affiliated, but like, come on now. It's just like, you know, seeing some recognizable faces come into the spotlight. I think for what the Black label does, this was a good debut, a solid debut. It's a catchy song for once, finally. Well, not just for once, because also Kiss of Life has a similar thing. And even though they do have a YG and JYP trainee, but that's a whole other thing, the idols have personality. These young women have personality. And that's part of what makes this debut, in my opinion, a successful one, is that, like, no, it's not like this big, like, anthem banger, kick the balls down, but it's like, It's like you're gonna be on strangers going, man, like, you know, it's a vibe. And I think
they're darker, but they're sleek, they're edgy, they're still young and fresh. Like, for what it is, do I think this song is particularly like a groundbreaking song? No, but I think we're able to know exactly who they are. I think we can sort of expect what follow up to one, maybe two other songs left to drop at the end of the year. And so they're really setting up who they are. And I enjoy someone that's able to give us something consistent right off the gate.
I will say this group is slightly different than Baby Monster in the sense of, as Angel said, these girls have personality, and I think their personality really, really shine through the music video. And I think when it comes to introducing a new group, especially a girl group, one of the important things is to try to stand out against a crowd of other acts that already exist. And I think that if they continue in the same path, they can definitely continue to disassociate themselves from YG and the stereotypes that come with being a YG girl group. I already see some people comparing this sound to Blackpink. I get it.
I don't see Blackpink though.
You can't avoid that because Teddy was involved in this project. He didn't write the song, but he was a producer on this song. So I think it's hard to kind of completely separate the YG sound from the Black label. But I will say I don't really, like Lee said, I don't agree that this is entirely a Blackpink copy, as in when we saw Baby Monster debut. Now that was a complete copy of Blackpink.
It was a legit copy because they were using the same sets that Blackpink shot videos on. I think what has been established here is that we see the difference between a YG girl group versus a Black label girl group. Again, the similarities but the differences, which was, I think, the win here for Teddy.
So that was it for this episode. We want to thank you guys for tuning in every single week. As you guys are aware, our podcast airs a week early in advance to our subscribers on Spotify. So if you aren't already following us, please make sure to follow the K-Pop Bible podcast. And on top of that, don't forget to leave us a rating. If you guys enjoy our discourse, if you guys enjoy what we bring to the table, please make sure to leave us a rating. And don't forget to vote on this week's poll, which will be, do you think Lisa's performance was the worst of the night? You can also follow us on our YouTube channel by the same name, the K-Pop Bible Online, and follow our two individual TikTok accounts, K-Pop Bible Online and the K-Pop Bible. Thank you for tuning into this episode, and see you next week.